Okay, I'm going to show you how to do a spoon here. Carve it with just hand tools, a knife, Diaz tools knife, a moire spoon, and this will be step one after you've of course split the branch like I showed in the couple of still pictures. But I use a chisel to get things going a little bit in the bowl. It saves me a little bit of time, and I get down enough where then I can start using the moire spoon knife, and makes it a little bit faster that way. So I'll do that with that part, and then I'm also going to do a little bit on the handle here, excuse me, and get it down so it's narrower. And I have to work on making sure that I work around this knot somehow, so that could be kind of interesting. So stay tuned. Okay, I've come along real nicely with this. I wanted to show you a couple of cuts that I use. One's what I call a swooping cut, like this, where your wrist action goes up and you don't go out on the knife. So it's more like this. It takes off little pieces. And then the other type is what I call the thumb cut, where you're like using a paring knife and use your thumb to just push so far, and then you go the other direction or whatever you need to be. That's the two types of cuts I'm using on this arch part right here, and both work at different times better, and so that's when I use them. And so I'll get that part right there done, and I'll work on the rest of the handle. But it's come along nicely. Looks pretty crude right now, but the bowl will be a lot deeper. Not a whole lot more taken off on the back here. Still worried about that knot though, but looking pretty good. Okay, I wanted to show you step 3 here, kind of the different cuts that we have. There's that thumb push cut, where you go in different directions here like that. There's the swooping cut that I call it. This is not anything probably in the dictionary. But then there's also a cut where you're having to do a real quick kind of a slice this way, and you want just a little nick off the top, but you don't want to go beyond that part there. So if I'm working around that knot, kind of more of just a slice to the right, and that works really well. This is coming along pretty nicely. I'm going to flatten this out in the bottom more. I'm going to dig down with the moire knife, and the way I use it, hopefully you can see it right here, is I try to make nice thin cuts with it like this. And this wood is incense cedar, and it's easy to cut, and so it's working really really well. I've used other pieces of incense for other spoons, but I want to get a little bit out here so you can see it. But it'll come along pretty quickly as we do this, and I'm going to really shape it up a lot more for the next part of the video here. But you can see how it's shaping up now, and I'm going to work around the knot like I said. Just leave it there as much as I can. Okay, step 4 here. We're ready to get close to the sanding part, and I'm calling this a soup spoon just because it's kind of wide, and it would make a nice soup spoon. And you notice how rough it looks, how bumpy and everything. I start out with 60 grit sandpaper, and you'd be amazed at how smooth it works. It almost works like a rasp. It actually leaves grooves in the wood, and I have to use finer sandpaper, of course, as I go along to get that out. But all of this roughness is going to be gone when you look at the next part of this here. So I've got the bowl pretty well scooped out and shaped right, and the back is shaped pretty well. Little inconsistencies here and there, but the sanding will take care of that. So that's step 4. Step 5, sanding. Okay, I got the rough sanding done. Step 5 here, and it made a remarkable difference in the looks of the knife. I mean the spoon, and it's coarse and it's granularly kind of on the wood, but the next grade up I'm going to use 120 grit sandpaper on it, and it'll shape it up nicely. But the 60 grit really shapes the spoon itself. Really, it takes out all the bumps and makes it pretty nice. So I'd highly recommend using a pretty heavy sandpaper. Even the edges, I can make those narrower and smoother with the 60 grit. So I start with 60, now I'm going to go to 120 and on up, and you'll see the final thing. And I just, a lot of work. You notice I'm in my shirt sleeves now. I spent a couple hours, and time's gone by, but it's going to make a nice soup spoon. Okay, I finished sanding now, and the spoon is shaped the way I want to. The knot did give me problems, and it's kind of a bump there, but you know, you got to deal with what you got to deal with. And the bowl is nice and soft and smooth, and it's ready for staining. I use food gradable linseed oil, and I'll show that next. But this is ready, and it's a nice soup spoon. I have the bowl a little bit out of whack for as a curve. It's not super symmetrical, but it's fun, and it worked. So I wish you could feel of how smooth it is. It's really a nice soft texture to it, and the linseed oil is going to bring out a little bit darkness and more of the grain and make it a lot prettier. So that is the spoon, and I'll show the next step of oiling it, which is the last step. Fun project. Okay, this is the last part of the video, and I put 1 coat of oil. Usually takes around 6 or so coats of oil. I wanted to show you some of the other spoons that I've done. This one here is particularly a fun one. It has 2 different distinct colors in it, which kind of brown on the top and a really neat grain for the bowl, and then pretty much yellowish white on the bottom. This is one of my favorite little guys. The grain is so neat in the bowl, and the curved handle is kind of neat. You can hold it like this. Just a neat little grain type spoon. This is one of my ladder spoons that I did out of maple, and maple out of a neighbor's backyard here, and particularly like this one. It's kind of a robust knife, but spoon, but really a beautiful looking piece of wood. My chili spoon here that I made, that I like to make chili, and good stirring spoon to get a little bit of taste of chili that way. And made this one last night, really white one, and this one's out of maple also, just a little stirring spoon, dip in and taste. So most of my spoons have been tasting type spoons, and they come across, I got some sawdust on it here, but they come across as more of a tasting type spoon. I got a lot of sawdust in there. But all I use is the chisels I showed, the Moray knife, and Jose Diaz's bushcraft knife, and it works really well. And we pride ourselves, the bushcraft people, in only using hand tools to do our spoons. Sometimes cook says the little cups, people use power tools on them, but most of the time we try to stay away from it. It may not be quite as regular, but we pride ourselves on having spoons that are done completely by us, by hand. And my oily hands now, but that's the second coat of oil on this knife, this spoon that I did tonight. You can see some grains are starting to come out. I like the cross grains in there, and the cross grains in the bowl. And it's going to make a nice little soup spoon. And I hope you enjoyed the video. A lot of parts to it. Hopefully I didn't make it look too easy, because it's not an easy chore. But it's really addictive, and hopefully you'll try it.